Hi everyone! It's rock and roll time, it's marketing time, it's time to dive in some strategies and learn from the best experts in the world. Thank you so much for joining us. So happy to be here. And today, me, Eric Casagrande, will host Michael Olaye, one of the best experts related to AI. So, Michael, please come here and join us on our call.
Hey, Eric. Hey, everyone. Nice to be on your show.
Amazing, Michael. Thank you so much for joining us. It's a pleasure to be here with you, and we are so excited. So, tell a little bit about yourself. What are you actually running? What is your job, currently job? What are you working on? And do you have any AI secret that you're gonna share already right now for us, or are you gonna wait for the end of our show?
Oh, I don't think I have any AI secrets. No. No. Yeah, so Michael Olaye, currently based in Los Angeles. I work as the EVP Managing Director for a pretty cool agency called Hero Digital. It's a US-based agency, about 500 people strong. We focused on kind of design, technology, and CX. And my role basically is I run the Western region. So I always say that's everything from Wyoming all the way to Japan. And we help deliver solutions for clients. My background has been in technology. I've been doing it for about 26 years. Um, Lucky or unlucky for me, I've always been involved in the business side as well since about 2000 when I partnered with some friends and we ran an agency in the UK. And then I've just always been involved in either working in digital or working, within technology space. So that's taken me through a couple of different companies, not too many. My own thing with my friends called UDocs. Then I went to Havas where I built the UK's digital kind of team for over 6 years. Then I went to Oliver Marketing, which is an in-house specialist, in a global company. I was the CTO there. And then they had a couple of agencies. It's a pretty cool setup, actually. They had a marketing agency, a design agency, a content agency, and an in-house agency. I was the CTO for that group, but I also was the CEO for the digital agency, which was called Dare Digital. And then I moved to Sweden in 2019. I worked for a company called the North Alliance. It's a group of, like, at that time, there was about 14 agencies across Scandinavia doing everything: design, brand, content, strategy. And I was the chief growth officer for the international part of the business. And then in 2021, I joined RGA, super famous company, really good at doing creative work, really good at doing design. And there I was the VPMD for the experience community, which is basically strategies, design, development, that kind of stuff. I did that for about 2 years. And then I switched to being the SVP of innovation and strategy, which was basically looking at kind of new business opportunities, looking at existing client opportunities, looking at innovation, and just basically putting my hands wherever I needed to help the business. So yeah, and then about 3 months ago, I moved to Hero, which has been
Cool.
amazing for a great bunch of people.
Amazing. What a curriculum, right? So many things, so many
Yeah, it's been
different
great.
yeah,
Yes,
it's
yes.
nice. Such nice experience. By the way, Michael, you are working with innovation from a while, and everyone is talking about AI, and I know that a lot of people has different perspective about AI, about artificial intelligence. So, from you, you are the expert. How do you define AI nowadays? What is AI for you?
Oh, that's an interesting question, right? So, I mean, I first started using anything to do with kind of machine learning, I would say maybe 2010, 2011. I was lucky enough to be involved with the IBM Watson team through Havas, and we were working with a lot of what I would call brand data. One of the most interesting ones I actually got involved in was one using Universal Music's library, which was basically we used Watson to scrub a person's Twitter handle. So you put your Twitter handle in, and it scrubs like maybe 2 or 3 years worth of data, and then it basically works out what time in the day you're kind of happy or stressed, depending on what you're posting or reading, and then it connects to the Universal Music library, and recommends songs to either make you happy or relax you or whatever. So that was like 2011, I think, 2012. So that was like my first like official dabble in a project for a brand that was AI, and then I've been involved in multiple ones for Durex. Did one at Unilever when I was at Oliver, which was trying to work out if we could use AI to understand the perception of what a cougar looks like, a woman, what public perception is, and trying to reframe that. So that was like training like a lot of like information endpoints using the Clarify system, who were based in New York. So for me, AI has always been something that it's a technology that's always been kind of hidden. And I think what's happened since the kind of like the adverse or Transformers became famous is that everyone's talking about it now. So I still stick to the original kind of perception that I have. It's an evolution of technology that removes mundane tasks, and I guess mundane is depending on who you are, in what category or what industry you are, but it's there to help remove repetitive tasks and improve like our ability to work efficiently. So for me, AI is an assistant. It's always been that, and I think as we move forward, especially with where we're going now, with like agents and stuff like that, I think we'll see more and more of it. The unfortunate thing at the moment is because everyone talks about AI, people kind of like fatigued by hearing it. So having technology hidden in the background is kind of, I think, where we're going to end up. Where yes, of course, we got experts and industry people like us talking about it, but the average person on the street wouldn't know or even care about what's operating behind the scenes, just more that it works properly. So my version of AI is something that helps us every day, makes the mundane tasks better for us, and can create new ways that make our lives easier. That's kind of how I see it.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. I have some perception very similar, but it's nice to hear from you. And guys, just to be clear, this session, as always, it's a Q&A. So please shout out your questions in our chat. So by the end of the show, Michael will answer all of them. So it's going to be a great moment to you guys make it real and live questions for Michael and enjoy this moment and get those answers. Michael, you already shared your perspective about AI, and I am really curious to understand from someone who are working with that for so many years, 10 years, 11 years, as you mentioned. Um, still, do you still find something that surprised you related to AI, the tools, the platform, or perhaps the way that we engage with AI? There is something that still surprise you, or you see something that brings this energy. Oh, I never saw that, so it's excited for you.
I think the speed of progress is the exciting part. Yes, I think the what AI is today and the speed at which these new technologies or these new tools that are using AI coming forward, it's pretty amazing. I mean, you only have to look 2 or 3 years ago. There wasn't really any good video AI. I mean, there was some image stuff. It was quite crude. And then as soon as we got like the first series of platforms and tools, and there's so many of them, I don't need to mention them. As soon as we got the first ones coming through, we saw an increase in the quality of the content. And then once the more established organizations started implementing it into their tools and applications, I mean, we've literally in the last kind of 12 months seen an explosion, whether you're buying, licensed software, whether it's open source, whether it's free, free source. There's just so much of kind of automation, machine learning, AI. It's all being implemented across the board. And the beauty of that is it's just made these tools so much easier for the average person to use. So I think it's really democratized the ability to be productive, be creative, be able to deliver at speed, be able to ideate at speed, be able to gain knowledge at speed. And the trick now is like there's so many tools. It's like which tools do you pick to be the ones you roll through? I always think about it like a computer game, right? If you're playing a shoot 'em up computer game, you have a whole suite of like weapons you can use or armor or whatever, but you always have like a set standard of tools that you really like train on and you get super good at it. And I think it's the same. It's like trying to work out which tools are best for what you do today, but also what skills you want to learn for tomorrow. So if you are doing standard design right now, where you're using Adobe Firefly. That's great. But if you want to go further into the future, you want to do kind of 3D modeling, or you want to do CAD designs, or you want to take your artwork and turn it into something that has motion and stuff like that, what tools should you start learning? And I think that's kind of where we are today. If you had to do that just 8 years ago, you'd have to go on some expensive course or go and get a whole new qualification for that. I think now with the internet and the information, the free tools, you can anyone with a computer can basically do that.
Really nice. Actually, as you mentioned this about having our set of platforms of tools to improve our daily work, one of my questions, and also I think it's also a concern from a lot of our followers regarding with the advance of AI, we might get afraid that some of our roles, some of our jobs will be taken by AI. How do you see that? Will those some professionals be more relevant with the advance of artificial intelligence, or will them be um, obsolete regarding the advance of AI? And how can we actually be part of that? In my opinion, I think we cannot go against that. We need to understand how to. Oh, sorry, guys. We need to understand how to work with them.
Yes. Oh, this is so
So, cool.
technology, for as long as humans have existed, has always disrupted the most profitable industries. When Henry Ford was looking to create the car, if he had asked the people who were riding horses, what would you want? They would probably tell him faster carts or faster horses. So when a new technology comes on board, there's like a group of people that you have to cater for. There's like the early adopters, they see your potential in there, they create new business opportunity from it, they even create new whole industries from it. Then there's the people that, usually I call them the middle, that get affected. It's usually, either kind of takes a little bit of the life or job that they had, but they have the opportunity to upskill and uplearn. And then there are those that it totally eliminates. So I would say what's happening with AI right now, whether we like it or not, is there will be jobs that will not exist very soon. I mean, we're already starting to see that from a lot of the companies. Even this morning, there was another, I think it's Klarna, who's actually even reducing their employees even more, and replacing with AI tools. So I think we're going to see that. But at the same time, I think we're going to see new types of jobs that will come up, or we're going to see a lot of people upskill themselves to be able to do more. It's debatable whether this is good or bad. I think it's an evolution of technology, and whether I think it's good or bad or not doesn't really matter. The technology and the people who need it and use it, that's what matters. So that's what's gonna drive the growth of it. If everyone says, no, I don't like AI, I don't like this, then it wouldn't grow. But that's not what we're seeing. What we're seeing are both enterprise and small businesses and independent people all jumping on the bandwagon, all using this technology to really improve their lives or their businesses. So yeah, I would say I'm not going to go into which specific jobs. I mean, we hear a lot of conversations about creatives and stuff. What I would say from a personal level is I think the last people to lose their jobs to AI is actually
Got,
creatives.
got you.
You hear a lot of conversation about creatives losing their jobs to AI. I don't believe that. I think the functional jobs, the ones that require, your typical using a program, a software engineer, a finance person, a consultant, those jobs are probably what's going to go first, rather than, hey, it's a creative person, or that's going to lose their role to AI. Of course, as AI advances, there will be new categories. Education will change. It needs to. The way we study for careers has to change, because half the stuff we teach is just not going to be relevant anymore. So that's where the focus should be, not on the technology, but on the infrastructure, the culture of the human race that's going to need or use that technology or be impacted by that technology. That's kind of why I think it needs to go.
Amazing, Michael. Going a little bit more on the specific points, one of our, when using AI or other resources, we always want to get the best from them, but sometimes we write the wrong prompt or we don't ask them correctly. Do you have any advice on how to work with AI platforms in a way that we can actually get what we are expecting to get from that platforms? how
Yeah,
to work with prompts, for example.
yes, I think following the basics, being concise, being clear, being very specific, like I mentioned in the video, but being very specific on what you want and iterating. So, yes, you might put a prompt and you don't get exactly what you want. Build on that prompt. Keep a catalog of the prompts you're creating. When you're pasting prompts into these programs, have a document on the side where for every prompt that you put, you kind of copy and paste. So, as you develop your skills, you will build a natural ability to understand how to prompt better. But I would say yes, as you go into it the first time, you won't always get what you want. And also be aware, not every AI tool or every AI platform will give you the result, even with the perfect prompt. The machine itself still has its a little bit of control outside of what you can do. So all that we can hope for is as the engineers and the system people who build these platforms, they're also working on improving the way that those platforms accept prompts. And then from us as users, it's just really finessing and honing your prompting skills for the tools that you use, particularly, and just doing that over time. Practicing when you don't really need to is also a good way of like learning how to prompt, like pick something and then just practice on it over and over and over again until you get as close to the right answer that you want. And please also never rely on AI 100% as well to give you everything you need. I know today everybody talks about AI doing everything, especially from a creative industry, this technology industry point of view. If you're creating concept work or you're creating content that you want to publish, please take it off the AI, use it through a human filter as well, refine it. That always kind of helps you get it to as close as what you think you want.
Cool, really nice. Guys, let you know, Michael has a course with Semrush in Semrush Academy, which also covers how to become a AI-powered market. One of those points that Michael talks that, Michael, I would be very happy that you could bring some of these ideas here for our audience. It's related with the prompts, with some points which is obscurity, direction, and hallucination. Could you explain a little bit more on how we should take care of those points while building a prompt?
Yes, sure. Could you just go through what the first point is? I didn't catch the first
Yeah,
main point.
what is obscurity in this case when we are building a prompt?
Yeah, I mean, being concise, like I mentioned, being clear, like being as definitive as you can. I also think actually using simple language helps a lot as you write prompts. Obviously, a lot of these tools are multilingual, so you should be able to create a simple variation or ask of what you want, and then understanding whatever filter tags, say for some video programs, whatever filter tags you need, understanding what the machine is expecting as well. So a good method is to trial, test it. There isn't a playbook necessarily. It's more understanding the foundations. And then I would say for things like hallucination, double checking, especially if you're not in control of the AI model that you're using, then you should always validate and check whatever information that AI is giving you against something else. It could be a Google search, it could be documentation. If you are in charge of modeling, there are systems out there, methods to validate, double check. There's the RAG system, there's alternative systems that you can kind of search through and validate the work against. That would be the two-way. Hallucinations at the moment, they isn't a full solution. It's a flaw in the system, and it's something that will still be there for I think a while still until the machines themselves uh, start to start to say I actually don't know the answer to that question. But because of the way they train right now, they always try to give that answer, and sometimes it's not correct.
Gotcha, amazing. Guys, let me share very quickly my screen so you guys can find exactly how to find the courses that we are mentioning here. So here is Semrush Academy. You can actually choose the best language for you. So we do have in other languages. So there's a lot of courses here, and one of them, of course, related to AI. Here you can see the course from Michael. So it's just push here, start learning, and you can find a lot of information on how to become a AI powered marketer. The link will be in the chat, so you can also register. There's a lot of great things here. I have taken this course a few weeks ago, and it's amazing. Thank you so much, Michael, for sharing this knowledge and everything. Just to let you know, guys, in Semrush Academy, we do have a lot of amazing courses, amazing things here, and also content in other language. This one is a new course that we just launched last week from internet for international SEO. Okay, coming back here, Michael, you have mentioned your experience related to a lot of works that you have done. But sometimes we think on AI just for one single task, how to do that, how to do an image, how to do a text, how to do a specific part of the work. I would like to understand if you see, if you know, or if you have worked recently in a way that you use AI for a full campaign, for a full scope of process, or organizing a campaign, bringing data for somewhere and organizing a full campaign that worked with AI. Can do you have this kind of experience and how it was if you have it?
Yes, I mean, I've obviously my previous company RGA. There was a lot of kind of AI work, and some of that, was basically moving between different tools. And even at Hero now, that's also the case. It's using the right tools and being able to have a workflow that understands how you take one piece of data, whether that's text to image or image to video, or video to back to image and publication of that image. It's just understanding the tools and the capabilities of what they can do and what they can't do. So, like I mentioned earlier, with this thing with Universal, scrubbing Twitter and then passing it on to the Watson engine, which then connected to a Universal library to present a good music playlist, or it could be scrubbing images from a database of a brand's catalog and then feeding that into a campaign kind of message and generating new bits of information. Or even some of the stuff we've done recently at Hero, which is basically creating like social media images based on a catalog from the client and some kind of creative taglines. We did this for public storage recently, and actually using that to dynamically create like variations of a creative that can be utilized at a local level. So there's different ways. I think the easiest way that I always think about it is like, if you are working without AI, like what is the process that you usually follow from ideation to like creation, I'm going to say. And if you then take a step back and you map that out into boxes, where can you create automation that gets to as close as a result that you would do normally? And that's kind of how you map it. There are tools that are out there now which are bringing things together. If you think of Leonardo AI, for instance, that platform allows you to work with imagery and video in one space for prompting. It allows you with filters. Obviously, one of the biggest tools, your chat GPTs and the like, and kind of Copilot, they're still quite standalone, but even the big organizations like Microsoft, for instance, are now starting to plug all their tools together, so you can port outputs from one application to another. So I think as time moves along, the tech platforms themselves, or the tools we use, or the hardware we use, like our Macs and our laptops, they will have that functionality built into them. And I think the kind of next evolution of that is like the phone, for instance. Once we have phones that are like fully AI enabled, you'll be able to be in one container and do multiple things. But for now, I'd say if you're starting off and there's just too many things out there, it's keep it simple. Look at your current process. I create, I scamp, and then I, do some low level kind of fidelity designs, and then I move them into get my copy, and then I turn them into high fidelity, and then I move into like actual like drawing out what I need to do, or publishing it. Look at that process and think, okay, can I do strategy with AI? Can I get all the insights with AI? Can I create scamps with AI? Fine, I can't really publish AI stuff because of all the rules and regulations, so I need to do that myself. Great, I'm gonna go into Photoshop, do that, but I can use the AI in Photoshop to make the image as good as I can, whether you're extending it or cropping it or adding things to it. Then I want to publish it. Do I have AI tools out there that I can feed it insights and it can understand what demographic this tool works for? So we have all these things in isolation, but if you look at them as a complete workflow in what you're creating, then I think it's much easier to do that.
Really nice. One of the examples that you just mentioned, it was creating a social media strategy based on a catalog, on data from the client. Do you see that it's really how important actually is having the right data and provide that data to AI, to any tool, before asking them to create something new? Because sometimes we try to get something, but we are feeding the AI with not the accurate data, with the right data, with the good examples that we would like to have from our side. How is important to have our own data and provide that for the process?
Yes, it's the whole rubbish in, rubbish out theory, right? So
Correctly.
I think the most powerful opportunities to create the right type of work actually exist within the actual brands themselves.
Nice.
So they've had a long time, whether you're talking TV, radio, internet, point of sale, e-commerce, it doesn't matter. They have a ton of data. We've spent a lot of money doing what I call spray and pray kind of marketing, which is basically, hey, I'm going to create a media plan before I create creative, and then I'm just going to spray everything, and then I'm just going to do, kind of click rates, and then hopefully I can get some conversions. I think these new AI tools are allowing companies to refine more. So if we're able to take campaigns that we've run before or campaigns that are out there live, and there's tools that are doing this right now, and you're able to feed that information back into your process, you can create much more impactful work. Whether that's through dynamic creation of assets on your website, whether that's through collecting customer data through a chatbot and being able to use that data live to respond to a feed or a product info on your website. Like if you have a website, you put something up there and you keep getting the same questions from your customers going to your call center, well, here's an opportunity to actually get that information, feed it straight back live, especially if you're dynamically creating content on the website, to be able to either update the website or give it to a person to create a new asset for the website. It's a loop that I think it's there already. I think where we get hung up is we've built these monolithic systems that allow exploitation of one part of the system. So we are the ones who are struggling to plug them together, because obviously the systems are not built to work together. So I think the opportunity to bring the systems closer. I talk about this about technology being a single stack, where a brand, I'm going to use the word, the company itself owns its data, works with agencies to harness that data, and looks more long term in how we do campaign marketing, how we do kind of brand activation. It's not just like one-off things. It's actually more storytelling using all that insight and that data combined with kind of automation.
Nice, really nice. Guys, it's time for Q&A. Feel free to write down your questions and we can make it in real time for Michael. Michael, we have one question here already from Gracie. She's writing that we constantly hear that AI generates stuff, looks, and sounds the same. Computer generated. How can AI generate content at this scale without compromising originality, sounding more human by the end?
I think because we generalize, right? So, but I understand what Grace is saying. My answer to Grace is if you look at the stuff that Coca-Cola has been doing, I wouldn't say that's same old. I'd say it's pretty unique to that brand. I think that the quality of the output is defined by the technology. The technology is usually defined by the hardware and software, and that's defined by the data, right? So we are halfway through that journey. I think these tools will keep getting better. I mean, we all know Sora. We've seen some other latest iterations of video tools that are coming out. And I think the data that we train these things on will help with the type of content we get out. I think when we get to video and visuals, yes, it all looks samey. But there's been some pretty cool releases lately that shows really high-end, super crisp, very realistic video. And we know we have tools like 11 that can do amazing sound. So I think we're getting to the point where the technology is going so fast. We just had this conversation today. If we talk again in 3 months, the video quality will be much better, the sound quality will be much better, the frame rate will be much better. I think that will keep growing. I think the part to remove the sameness is how we creatively think about using the AI tool. Like if we can get better at just not doing basic, hey, I have this AI tool and I'm just going to just create, I don't know, a scene with X and Y. Of course, everyone's thinking similar, so you're going to end up with similar work. I think that's why I mentioned the creative being the last thing that gets disrupted, because the tool is just a canvas. No different to a film reel when you're shooting a movie. All movies could look the same, but they don't, because they have different filters, they have different directors, the script writers are different, the locations are different. So that's kind of how I'm thinking of AI. It's the environment you use it in and the output you want. There are some situations where it's going to look the same because it has to be for efficiency. Like, if you're doing, SEM or SEO, or you're doing content marketing, there's some ground rules you got to follow, both legally and personally. So it's going to look the same. But if you're going to visually, creatively, graphically, I think there's a lot of room for improvements. I think we, the industry, just need to push ourselves a bit more. And I should also say we need to partner more with the actual companies building the tools, rather than sit behind, wait for the tools to come out and then try to use them. We're starting to see a lot more creative agencies working with these companies to try and influence the type of tools and how those tools work.
Really nice. Michael, another question that I got on my LinkedIn when I shared this live show this morning, it's from Ricardo. He asked if you could share the best examples from companies that are working with AI and brought something new in the market. You mentioned like Coca-Cola in this example, but do you have any other examples that from companies that we could follow to see what is as the best from AI in the market right now? Marketing strategy, of course. I mean, companies running marketing strategies.
Yeah, I think there's Founders Land, which is it's an RJ work. It happened in the UK just before I left, but it's pretty cool. It's women in the VC world, especially women of color, don't really get much like funding. I know the whole market's down right now, but even when it's at its peak, very few people invest in female founders. And the Founderland, built this tool that basically utilizes artificial intelligence. It's trained on information from actual VC funders, like it from investors, and it can help you create your investment deck. But it can also like score an investment deck you have. So it basically can help you go out and get that investment. I think that's a really cool way of using artificial intelligence from a brand's perspective. I think it's a pretty unique way of it's one of my personal favorites, actually. You can actually look at a tool. Most of it's in the background, so it's not screaming AI at you, but actually it's doing something that can fundamentally change an industry.
Really nice. One last question, Michael. As you just mentioned, investments. We have let's say a guideline in SEO, which is related to topics related to your money, your life, that we need to be more attention regarding those kind of topics. And AI, it's starting to work with investments, with money. It can help us in this process. Which is your opinion related to that? When we see AI actually taking place and helping us on points that it's really important for our daily routine, for our life, as money, as investment, as health, as politicians as well. How do you see this role of AI in our routine, in our daily basis?
That's a heavy question.
Yeah, it's a I just got it.
I think the finding the balance between the freedom to innovate, but also the security of having regulation. I think that's the balance, right? So yes, we want to innovate, we want to find like super cool ways of doing things, but we don't want to take our data for granted. We don't want to take our livelihoods for granted. So it's about finding that balance. So I think governments have a huge role to play. I know some people don't, but I truly believe in helping us not regulate how AI is actually like created and innovated, but regulate how AI is used to impact society. So there has to be a way to innovate in a safe space like medicine does, while having the regulation that makes sure that when things are released into the world, it doesn't do harm. And then I'll say, as a consumer myself, my hope for AI is that we are in a world that's quite automated. It functions on intuition rather than predictability. The
See.
tools we have are able to understand our needs before we need them, rather than predict our needs on what we needed previously. So I think that's going to be the difference. And I think with the advent of AI agents, the ability for companies, brands, people, companies to build tiny agents that can have a specific task, but have the ability to communicate with another agent to do combined tasks is going to be amazing for the future of this technology. So if you were to say, hey, what does a eureka moment look like for you? It's like, I personally have an agent, and we have things like this in the world. It's just not AI driven. We have,
Yeah.
ID in Scandinavia. We have, credit scoring in America. We have Xperia. We have things that could take this concept and blow it out. But I have something that is me. It has my data, it has my information, it has my lifestyle information, my preferences, and then I choose to activate or deactivate bits of it, and it allows companies to connect through their agents. So if I want to buy a car, I want to buy an air conditioning system, it will know what my preferences are. It will know what location I'm at. I don't have to do any work.
That's nice.
That I think we're not far away from that. I don't think it will come in one big bang. I think it will come in bits and pieces. But with all of that, my data is super precious. It's my currency, right? So I need the government to build something so that when they take my data, they don't do what we do today, which is go sell it to somebody else, so I get random banners on websites on things I've already bought. So that's kind of that balance. So one of the things we're doing at Hero with a lot of the clients we have is, a lot of people talk about AI implementation and AI tools. Actually, we do a lot of stuff on like making your business ready for AI, like actually looking at how you use data, how you set up your CDP or your CMS, or how you set up your organization to make sure that the tools, the data is both secure, and also the things that you can create with it are things that won't get you in hot water. So we do a lot of that with a few clients at Hero right now, and it's something that I think we'll see more of, like setting up properly, understanding the impact of the tools you're building, and then building off the back of it. I think at the moment we're still in this like hype curve where we just
I see.
see all the pretty stuff.
Nice, but it's nice, really nice. But still, it's a wonderful future. Let's say if we go in that direction, really nice.
Yes,
Michael, thank you, thank you so much. We are out of time. It was an amazing conversation.
no
And
problem.
to wrap it up, I would like to hear from you your last advice for marketers. How do you see? What would be your last advice from this call to for marketers, and how we should embrace or work with AI, and how we should actually do it?
I think marketers have the best understanding of the arena that we're all playing in. And I think the best thing to do is to take a step back, like I mentioned earlier, look at the process of what you do in your marketing kind of process right now, and see where you can find ways to automate that. And for some marketers, it's going to be a big thing. You're going to have to implement something big, replace the system. For other marketers, it's small, tiny tweaks. There isn't a one-way fix all. It's very independent to the individual or the organization. So that would be my one advice: is test it.
Cool.
Just test. Don't rely on clients to pay for your AI ability to launch something. Try to invest a little bit of your profits internally to test these tools. And where you can, find a technical partner that you can partner with. There's so many great companies out there. I'm not going to call any names out. We all know them. You can do some research and try to find out, read some white papers, and just try to attend more kind of conferences like yours, I guess, and events, just to learn a bit more.
Amazing. Michael, thank you so much. It was a pleasure hear you and learn so much from you related to AI and all those ideas. It's amazing. And guys, stay tuned here on our YouTube channel in Semrush that soon we're gonna have another live show. And always remember, in the description of this live show, you can find the links for the course with Michael Olaye to find everything about how to become an AI powered market. So
Thank
thank
you
you
for,
so much. It was amazing.
thank you for having me. Thank you, Semrush. Thank you, Rich.
Bye bye, guys.